May I have your attention, please? 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 May I? Hi everybody, my name's Rob Jellinghaus. I'm here to demonstrate for you today my invention called Holofunk. So, what the heck did I just do? Well, what Holofunk basically is, technically, is an audio-visual gestural live looper. Let me explain what that means. Basically lets me record myself and play myself back and kind of make a little orchestra of myself. So the way it works is, this is basically a regular Windows program running on a tiny little Windows PC on the ground there, and it has two monitors. I'm watching one, you're watching the other. And on top of the monitor here is the new Kinect from the Xbox One 3D camera. So it can see me and it can tell me apart from the background. That's why you can't see anything behind me. So it can also see my hands. It can see if my hands are open, shut. And when I hold my hand up and make a fist, it's going to start recording me. Very simply, something like this. Very simply, something like this. So now that's a loop. And that loop is going to keep playing very simply something like this, indefinitely, and I can add another one. Very simply something like this, or maybe perhaps like that. Very simply something like this, or maybe perhaps like that. Very simply something like this, or maybe perhaps like that. Very simply something like this, or maybe perhaps like that. Very simply something like this, or maybe perhaps like that. Very simply something like this, or maybe perhaps like that. Very simply something like this. And then what else I can do, as you can see, is very simply something like this. If I point, I get this little pointer here. Very simply something like this. I make a fist, and I can mute it. Very simply something. So that makes things quiet. And I can point again and open my hand and it'll come back. Very simply something like this, or maybe perhaps like that. Very simply something like this, or maybe perhaps like. So that basically lets me do something like this. That basically lets me do kind of multi-track mixing in and out. I can also something like things. If I mute it again, it goes away altogether. So I really have kind of simply something like this. I really have kind of multi-track editing capability. Now, very simply something like this. Put my hand on very simply something like this. One thing about the new Kinect is that it's amazing that a $150 piece of hardware can completely see my body and see what I'm doing and understand it well enough for this interface to do what it does. But it's not perfect, and it has little glitches, so you'll see little things pop up on the screen and I'll clean them up. And it's a little bit of randomness to add excitement to the experience. So the other thing I can do is put my hand on my chest, very simply something like this, and point at a sound I made, very simply something like this. So these are sound effects, very simply something like this. And I can put more than one on. Very simply something like this. Very simply something like this. Very simply something like this. Or maybe perhaps like that. So that's the basic idea. And the last thing you can do is put your hand on your head and point simply something like this. Oh, let me start my recording. So one thing I remember to do at the beginning of every set. So that's the basic interaction, is you can record things, you can play them back, you can bring them in, bring them out, put sound effects on them, and kind of the more you play with it, it's sort of meant to feel like finger painting with sound. So you can kind of grab your own sound out of the air. And the question is sort of, why did I do this? What gave me the idea to think that this was a good thing to work on? Well, this is the a cappella group I was in college. That's me way up in the back there. Bunch of kind of happy hippies, all doing folk songs. And the thing that I learned through doing that was exactly how great it is to experience harmony. I fell in love with harmony in that group. Just the simple joy of la, 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 la. I could just listen to that all day. So that kind of got me started, and then I got into the electronica scene, the kind of the techno raver scene in my 20s, and I learned about rhythm and the power of rhythm in music. And but the disappointing thing to me about the electronica scene was that it didn't have the vocals. It kind of lost the human presence to a large extent. And I was like, what happened? Why can't you have both the singing and the and the cool electronica, cool kind of rave stuff? So what I discovered was this gentleman, Beardy Man is his stage name, Darren Foreman, best UK beatboxer 2 years running, and he created a system that lets him do basically live album production using mostly his voice, heavily processed. He can do live tracks based on improvised suggestions from the audience, fully live. So it's incredibly inspiring, excellent musician, best electronic musician in the world in my opinion. And he inspired the heck out of me, and I was like, oh, I guess it is possible. Through him, I encountered various other musicians, looping musicians. Reggie Watts, anyone heard of Reggie Watts? Yeah, Reggie Watts is awesome. And he uses loopers that are kind of like this, little button boxes on the stage. There's also, right in our area, Jeffrey Castle, an amazing electric violinist who also does live looping. This is his setup, and again, it's very kind of button heavy, very sort of foot pedal heavy, and you can create amazing sounds, but the audience can't really see what's going on. And so I felt that this was a problem. Beardy Man actually talks about in his set how it's difficult for people to understand that he's doing it all live, because you see a laptop on stage, you assume it's all pre-recorded, but for him it's not. So I then saw a video that he did in 2008 called Monkey Jazz, and this was a live audio performance by him, and they videoed it from a bunch of angles, and they cut it up, and they made all the loops play at the same time, even though he wasn't actually performing them at the same time, but his audio was playing them back all together. So this one would be going, and this one would be going, and this one would be going, and so I was like, whoa, what if that, what if that could be done live? And so I worked on it, and that's what I did. I took that experience that he made in that video, and I made it something that you could do, up close and personal in real time. So the especially motivating thing for me about this was that soon after I worked on on the first prototype of this in 2011, it was 4 years ago. I've been working on this. I demoed it to him in Vancouver, and this is us being awesome after the demo. We were totally psyched, and that was one of the great things for me about this project. I learned that by making something, you can meet your idols, you can meet your inspirations, and they can be inspired by what you're doing. So that kind of motivated me and has kept me going for 4 years, is the fact that I got to meet my hero through doing this. And the first version of this used the Nintendo Wiimote, used the first Kinect, which couldn't see your hands at all. So I had to have some way to click on something, so I used a Nintendo remote, and when the new Kinect came out, it was able to detect 3 positions, open, pointing, and fist, and that's just barely enough for me to do this interface. So these are some notes from when I was working on that revised interface with my wife. And this is a shot of me doing Holofunk at a rave, actually, a rave campout organized by some friends of mine. So that part of my hope has come true too. I've started to be able to bring vocals back into the rave scene a little bit. And the last thing I want to mention in this context is if you like this kind of music, there's actually a Loop Fest coming up in Seattle, October 15th and 16th. I'll be performing on the 16th, and I'll be in Portland on the 17th at nwloopfest.com. So definitely check that out if you're interested in this kind of thing. Now, I have that's kind of the basics of my setup and the history of it. What I want to do now is talk a little bit about some very urgent matters. In fact, urgent enough that I need to increase the tempo slightly up to 120 BPM. I'm going to try to make a little one-beat loop here to give me some timing. I don't know how you all have been feeling about the weather lately, but my opinion, it's been too hot, 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 down just a little bit, too hot, too hot, too hot, too hot, too hot, too hot. Too hot, 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 too hot. So, something that I love about maker culture is that it's very science-based. People actually believe in science in the maker culture, which is a wonderful thing because science and technology are critical to our survival. But we have to stop making the wrong things and start making the right things. So I want to mention that specifically about climate change. If you are in Seattle, you should know about these two things. CarbonWA.org, Carbon Tax Climate Change Initiative, and Plant for the Planet, group of kids, a worldwide organization started by a kid. They want to plant 1,000 billion trees by 2050. So if you believe in science, and if you're a maker, you do, or a fan of makerdom, then support these organizations because the planet needs us. So that's kind of my public service announcement for the day. And I also want to talk a little bit about one of the things I love best about makerdom, which is that everybody who's a maker makes things because they really want to make the world better. And I love that so much about maker culture that it kind of makes me want to take the tempo back down a little bit, do something a little more down, a little more mellow in the spirit of my genuine love and passion for all makers. Do, ba-do, do, 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 ba-do, do, 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 ba-do, do, 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 ba-do, do, 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 ba-do, do, 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 bum, ba-da-dum, ba-dum, do, bum, 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 ba-dum, ba-dum, do, 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 bum, ba-da-dum, ba-dum, do, bum, 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 ba-dum, ba-dum, do, 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 bum, ba-da-dum. I'm going to do that over again, but because I can. Let me give myself a little metronome to start with. There we go. Always makes it easier to get the timing perfect if you do the metronome first. Bum bum ba-dum bum bum ba-dum bum bum ba-dum bum 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 ba-dum bum bum ba-dum bum bum ba-dum bum 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 ba-dum bum bum ba-dum bum bum ba-dum bum 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 ba-dum 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 bum ba-dum bum make the world better bum ba-dum bum ba-dum bum make the world better bum ba-dum make the world better make the world better bum ba-dum make the world better make the world better bum ba-dum make the world better bum ba-dum bum bum ba-dum bum ba-dum bum so something that I feel also is important about maker culture is that making alone is actually not enough. There's lots of kinds of people in the world. There's a million people who can make things or more, but the world needs more than makers. The world also needs teachers, and it needs healers,
and it needs growers. So something that I want everyone to remember, as much as we focus on maker culture and how it can transform the world, makers get a lot of attention, and more if we can help it, because making things is critical. But there are also lots of other things the world needs. So I just want us all to remember we need the talents of everybody to make the world the best it can be. Make it, keep growing, heal it, teach it, make it. Make it, keep growing, heal it, teach it, make it. Make it, heal it, growing, heal it, teach it, make it. Make it, heal it, growing, heal it, teach it, make it. Make it, heal it, growing, heal it, teach it, make it. Make it, heal it, growing, heal it, teach it, make it. Make it, heal it, growing, make the world better. Make the world better. Make the world better. Make the world better. Thank you very much. So that's most of my my prearranged talk, but what I would like to do now is open it up to questions, and then with your consent, I'll just jam a little bit after that. One of the things about Holofunk is that, and I should also mention, this is an open source project. It's available for download on GitHub already. If you like this kind of thing and want to play with it, you can go to holofunk.com, find all the information about it. I'm happy to help people set it up. I'm happy to have people play with the code, explain the code. There's a lot that can be done with the new Connect, more than has yet been recognized. Even as long as it's been out, there's just still so much potential to this. So I kind of did this as a proof of concept in a way, and now I sort of want to see who else is ready to take it and run with it. So, any questions?
Is the projection that we're watching, is that the same as what you're seeing your interface?
That's an excellent question. The question is the projection you all are watching the same as what I'm looking at? And the answer is no. What I'm looking at is this. So I'm looking at kind of a mirror reflected version, and it has this kind of technical information up in the corner. And if I record something, I can actually see the duration of it. I'll give you an example. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, so you see under 5, there 6, 7, 8. There's these little circles divided into 4 quarters. This is a 4/4 is the only time signature I support. 8. And so that shows me exactly how long that loop is. If I make a 1 beat, then there's just one little 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But it time synchronizes everything up to a quarter note, so things always stay in sequence. 6, 7, 8. 1, 2. Other questions?
Yes, go ahead.
What kind of hardware does it take to render the story in real time and add like your face, multiple faces?
This little PC down here is a tiny Intel. The question was, what kind of hardware does it take? This is a tiny little Intel i5 NUC, new unit of computing is what they call it. So it's kind of like a kiosk level. But it's a 64-bit app, C# in .NET actually. So the main constraint is on, I think, the video bandwidth. So the number of headshots you can have actually starts bogging it down after about 15 or so. Like, let me just do a little. One thing that a friend of mine did with this is he realized you could actually use it purely for video art. 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 It also is ambidextrous. Purely for video art. Use it purely for video art. Use it purely for video art. Use it purely for video art. So you can see it's starting to get a little more laggy, starting to turn down a little bit, but it's still basically working. Purely for video art. So the other thing I want to admit about this interface is that it's been pointed out to me that this is kind of the egotistical version of the interface because you see your own face all over the screen. And there are lots of other possibilities for visualizations. I could be doing kind of color visualization based on sound, could be doing processing of the video to match the processing of the audio effects, a bazillion possibilities. That's one reason I want to open source it, because right now a lot of the basic heavy lifting has been done. It supports 2 perspectives, 2 players, and it's very stable. So now is the point to add features. Yes?
Does this work on the Xbox One?
The question is, does this work on the Xbox One? And the answer is unfortunately no. And the reason is the Xbox One is not engineered for picking up sound and then playing it back instantly. There's a delay. What I hear is about 70 milliseconds, that's 7/100ths of a second, which is death for this, because one of the things that's really important for this is that you can put, in fact, I can also put sound effects on my voice. If I put my hand on my mouth, then I can just sort of start talking like this, and it picks it up immediately. So if I talk and then if I record something, it'll be recording with that kind of reverb on it. Hello, hello. In fact, let me do something a little bit more tricky. So you hear, that's pretty tight. I was able to sing exactly over it the way I wanted, and it's playing it back exactly the way I sang it. And that's critical to what I'm trying to do here. I did an early version of this, and I had too much delay, too much buffering, and a looper friend played with it, and she's like, this is so laggy, this is so slow, what's the problem? I sped it up by 7,000ths of a second. That's 0.7% of a second, and it made a huge difference for her. She could totally hear it. So the Xbox One, unfortunately, doesn't let me get it that tight, and that's really important to what I'm doing. Other questions? Okay, then I'm going to, let's see. Everyone, please stay put. I'm going to jam for about 5 minutes, and then Steve Jocelyn's going to do his amazing and innovative clarivoce performance. But let me take this back up to 120, just to let me use one of my other sound effects to full advantage. Whoop. Thank you very, very much.